Hello, Leon, am I audible? Just say yes if I'm audible.
Yes.
Okay, fine. Okay, fine, guys. So let's start. So let's start talking about same thing that we were trying to discuss in last class. So in last class, we have seen that how we can create a different kind of variable. So starting from, I can say, like a integer variable or a string variable, or we have seen a Boolean variable. We have seen a complex variable, and apart from that, so we have seen how we will be able to perform a slicing operation with respect to a string, how a string stores all of those data, how we can print a string into a reverse direction. And apart from that, so we have seen that how we can try to store a data set inside a list, and then how we'll be able to do the slicing operation just based on the same discussions that we have done with respect to a string. So in today's lecture, so again we are going to continue with the same thing, similar kind of a things, and we will try to see different kind of operations over here. So fine, let's try to understand. So as we have discussed, as we were talking about, like what is a list and what is a string, and then we were trying to perform a slicing operation on top of a string, on top of a list. So the first function that I would like to discuss in today's class is called as a range function. So let's try to understand that what is range function and why range function has been used, and then what in all operations that you will be able to perform on top of a range function. So there is a range function you will be able to find out, and this is the inbuilt function. So this is the inbuilt function you will be able to get. So what range function does? So range function basically behaves like a generator, and it will try to generate a data set for you. So fine, let's try to understand that what in all argument my range function is going to consider, and what kind of a data set it is going to generate. So let's suppose if I'm going to say range is equal to 10, and if I'm going to execute it. So in general, if you will try to look into a definition, as I told you that you are not supposed to remember even a single function and its body, or what in all kind of argument it takes, or what in all kind of argument it doesn't take. So you will be able to press just shift and tab inside a function, and by pressing shift and tab you will be able to get a definition of a particular function. So here I have written a range is equal to 10, and then you will be able to see that there is a stop, there is a start, stop, and all those things has been mentioned. So let's try to understand it. So when I'm saying range is equal to 10, so you must be able to see that it's trying to give me something like a 0 to 10. So it's basically trying to give you a range object in this particular place. Now what is a range object? What it does, like I told you, so range function behaves like what? So range function is behaving like a generator, and it will try to generate a data set for you. So here in this particular case, you will be able to figure out, you will be able to find out that it is behaving like a generator, which can generate a data set for you. And what kind of a data it can generate? What is the limitation of a range function? What is the alternative of the range function? So we will talk about all of those things. And range function is like a very useful function when you are trying to do a data parsing operation into a core Python. So here I have written a range is equal to 10, and then if I'm trying to, so in general, so like it is just trying to give you an object. If I'm trying to enclose this range function within a list function, so you will be able to find out that it is trying to give me a list of the data. It means what? So it is trying to generate internally a list of the data set in this particular place. And you can see I have given range is equal to 10. It means that it's a upper bound that I'm trying to mention in this particular place. So it will try to generate a data by default starting from a 0 to 9. So as we have discussed, even in case of a list, or even in case of a string indexing or slicing operation, so there you must be able to find out that it always excludes an upper bound. And it's the same thing that you will be able to figure out even in this particular place. So I have given a range is equal to 10, and then it is trying to generate a data set starting from a 0 till 9, or you can say 0 till 10 excluding 10. This is how you will be able to say. So here whenever you try to give like just a range function, so in that case it try to return and just an object. So it is trying to return just an object for me, nothing else. So unless and until you are not going to keep your range function inside some iterable function, so basically list is a iterable function. And like I told you, so I will try to discuss, I will try to talk about what is the difference between this list and this list. So both looks to be a same in a very first place, but yes, there is some differences that you will be able to find out. I will be talking about that very soon. So here I have just enclosed my range function inside a list, and list is basically a iterator function. And what is a iterator, what is a iterable, what is a generator? So I think in next classes, so we will talk about in very detail. And yes, there is some confusing terms you will encounter, like a generator, iterator, iterable, iter, next, and all those things. So we will try to clarify. So by that time, some lots and lots of things will be clear. So here list is behaving like a generator function or iterable iterator function, and it is trying to extract a data set out of the range. And I'm able to see that yes, it is trying to generate a data set starting from 0 to 9. It's completely fine. Now what and all things we can do over here? Suppose if I wanted to generate a data set in between some range to some range, so how I will be able to generate a data set in between certain ranges? So let's suppose if I'm trying to give 3 comma 10 in this particular place, so you must be able to observe over here that again it is behaving like a generator function. Again it is trying to give me some data. Now what is the kind of a data? So here you will be able to find out that this is the starting point, and here you will be able to find out that this is the end point. So it will try to generate a data starting from the starting point that you have given, and then it will try to generate a data till the end point excluding an end point. And that's the reason, so you must be able to see a data set in between 3 to 9. So it's the same exact same operation I'm trying to perform that we have performed in case of a string slicing or a list slicing operation based on the indexes. So here it just behave like a generator, and it is trying to generate a new kind of a data for you in case of a list or in case of a string. So we were using a similar kind of approach. So we were trying to use almost a similar kind of approach, I would say, just to perform a slicing operation where we have given a starting point and where we have given a end point, and based on that, so it was trying to give me some kind of a data set in between. So it's completely fine. So I'm able to generate a data set in between 3 to 10, and yes, it's completely fine for me. Now if I will try to reverse it, so maybe starting point wise I have given 10 and end point wise I have given 3. So again here, so it should be able to give me a data set, as we all know, and as we have already seen all those things in a list or in case of a string. So exactly a same logic is been applied over here. I think most of you must be able to understand that why it is not giving me a data. It will give me a data for sure if I'm going to mention -1, and yes, it is able to give me a data set starting from a 10, because 10 is my what? 10 is my starting point and my end point is 3. So if I will talk about a scale, so here I'm saying that do one thing, generate a data starting from 10. So 10 will be somewhere over here. So 10 to 3 in this direction I'm trying to move, and then my step size. So you can try to pass a 1 argument, you can try to pass a 2 argument, you can try to pass a 3 argument inside a range function, just like a list or a string slicing operation. And here in this case, it is trying to generate a data set starting from a 10 till 3 excluding 3. Again same condition applies, it always excludes an upper bound. Now 3 is my upper bound over here, and here it is trying to generate a data set till 4. It will not give you 3. And what I have done this time, so this time I have given a step size into a negative direction. So basically I am trying to generate a data set starting from 10 to 3, and then I have given a step size even into a negative direction, and both the directions are same. But before that, when I have not given all those things, before that, when I'm not writing -1, and then if I'm trying to execute, so in this case I'm able to receive a blank. The reason behind these things is again same scaling concept. So let's suppose this is the 0, this is the origin. So here I'm trying to move from 10 to 3, means 10 will be somewhere over here. So I'm trying to move from 10 to 3. That is completely fine. But by default it is going to consider, and step size is equal to +1. And I'm trying to jump into this direction and there is a direction conflict in between, and that's the reason. So you will be able to find out that it was not giving me a data set. I'm able to get a blank list in this particular case. So exactly a same thing is been applied over here even. And I think most of you have already practiced it. We have already uploaded a last class slide, and you're like a Jupyter. So Jupyter notebook, we have already uploaded it inside a dashboard, so you can download it. And even whatever things we are going to discuss, we are going to talk about in today's class, so most of those things are already available in that particular slide that we have uploaded. So in parallel with me, so you can try to practice and you can try to come up with the permutation combination. You can try to post a queries in a Q&A session, and people who have joined through a YouTube, so you can post all of your technical queries and our team will reply then and there itself. So you will be able to get all the kind of a resolution. And the best way to learn any kind of a coding, like I told you, is to do a practice. So just try to practice, do all sort of permutation combination, whatever you can think of. And then if you are facing any kind of issue, then and there post all of those things in our discussion session. So Q&A over here in a Zoom or on a YouTube chat box. So fine here. So I'm trying to generate a data set in between 10 to 3. And then if I'm trying to give a direction as a negative, it's completely fine. I will be able to generate a data. So range function is been used to generate a data set in this particular place. There is one restriction that you will be able to find out. Let's suppose if I'm trying to give some floating point number over here, I wanted to generate a data set in between 10 to 3.5. And in that case you are going to receive an error. So float object cannot be interpreted as an integer. So this is the kind of a error, or this is the kind of a restrictions that you will be able to find out in case of a range function. While at the same point of a time, there is a function called as a range, which is available inside a NumPy package. So as of now, we are talking about a Python code, and we will talk about a NumPy numerical Python package, because this package is very much important as far as data science or machine learning is concerned. So this particular NumPy package, you will be able to find out that there is a function called as arange. So this function can accommodate, I would say, like a floating point number. But the range function that we are using inside a Python code, so it will not be able to take any kind of a floating point argument. So you should always make sure that you are not going to give any kind of a floating point argument or any kind of a real number, just accept, I would say, an integer. Apart from that, so it is not going to accept any other things. So this is what a range function does, and we are going to utilize this range function in many of our cases. So one by one, so in many kind of data manipulation, data transformations, so we will be able to use this kind of range functions. Just sit tight and practice with me. I think you will be able to understand it and you will be able to practice it. Now, the next thing which I'm going to discuss is like a for loop. So what is a for loop, or what is a looping? First of all, suppose if I have created this particular list, and then one by one, if I wanted to extract a data set, one by one out of this particular list, so how I will be able to do that, and how I will be able to extract a data set out of this one. So let's try to talk about it, and let's try to understand, let's try to discuss that how this particular iteration operation or a looping operation is going to help us out. So let's suppose I wanted to extract a data set out of this particular list, and then I wanted to create a new list in which, so I wanted to add maybe a 2 to 2 with respect to all the list element, and then create a new list. So how I will be able to perform such kind of operations, that is called as a list manipulation. So we will be able to do that by using a different approach. There are more than 10-20 approach which I can suggest you as of now, and by which you will be able to perform a same kind of a thing, and you will be able to get a same kind of a outcome. But so I will be discussing all those things in terms of a looping operation, in terms of a for loop. So let's try to understand it. So let's suppose I have a list. So I have created a list. L is equal to maybe like in my list 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and this kind of a data set which I have given. So this is the list that I have. This is the data set which I have given. Now, what is my requirement? My requirement is to manipulate all of those data set which is available inside this particular list, add 2, 3 or any kind of a number inside each and every with each and every element, and then prepare a new list. So to do that, first of all, I will have to perform maybe a iteration operation. There is a function called as mapping function. So with that, you will be able to perform this operation just in a single line. There is something called as a list comprehension operation. Even with that, you will be able to perform exactly same operation just in a single line. But as of now, as we all are beginner, so we are trying to learn something, and that's the reason. So I will not be using a map function immediately in our future discussions. So yes, BAM will come into a picture probably by next week, and even list comprehension will come into a picture. But as of now, I will try to perform these operations just with the help of simple iteration operation. So in a layman way, because I'm just a beginner, so I'm just trying to learn something. So this is my second class, and that's the reason. So I will be I will try to perform these operations just by using a simple for loop operation. In this way, I will try to learn even a for loop. So fine, this is a list that I have given to you. Now my requirement is to extract a data set first of all, one by one out of the list, let's suppose. So how I will be able to do that? So there is a loop called as for loop. So for loop is available in all the languages, whether you are talking about C, C++, Java, Scala, any other languages. So you will be able to find out a for loop even here in Python. So we have a for condition of for loop. So I'm going to write for I in L. Now for I in L I have written. Now what is the meaning of I? What is the meaning of L in this particular place? So let's try to understand it. So I'm going to write for I in L and then print what? So print I. Now if I'm going to execute it, so what you will be able to find out is like it is trying to give you all the numbers. You can just try to match it over here. So whatever number I have given inside my list, so it is trying to extract all the data. It is trying to extract all the information out of this particular loop, and then it is trying to perform different like now you can perform a different kind of operation. So this particular operation is called as a iteration operation. Now what will happen internally? So let's try to understand it. Suppose this is the list that I have, and inside this list I have many elements, and we know that so inside a list it is going to store all of those elements with respect to indexes. So starting from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and so on. And even we have seen that in a reverse direction, you will be able to extract a data set by using a indexing starting from -1 till number. So it's completely fine. So here, my main idea and my main objective is to extract a data set one by one. So that's the reason I have written for loop in Python. For loop is a little bit different, I would say. And suppose if I'm talking about a Java. So in Java, what we used to do is, so people who are coming from a Java, C++ background, so just for them. So in Java or somewhere, so we try to write in this way. So for integer, I is equal to 0, then I is lesser than equal to some condition, and then I plus plus or I minus minus. So generally we try to start with initial indexes, and then we try to write a condition, and then we try to write a incremental operation or maybe a decrement operation, depends upon the iteration that we are going to do. So this is the procedure by which we used to write a code inside a Java or inside a C++, C# in general. But here, so people have made your life much easier. So let's try to understand it. How? So Python is the easiest possible language, and even in this place, so you will be able to find out that no, you're not supposed to write all those things like we used to write inside a Java. So just by using a very simple operation, I will be able to extract a data set. So here I'm trying to write like for I in L. Now what is L? L is nothing but my list which I have given in this particular place. So for I in L, L is a list. So I, now what is I? So you can try to give my name, you can try to give your name, doesn't matter at all. So it's just a local for loop variable that we have created. So it doesn't matter whether you are going to give I, X, Y, Z or SUDH or maybe your name XYZ, doesn't matter at all. It's just a local variable which I'm trying to give. What will happen in this particular case? It will go to this list one by one. It will start extracting a data set out of the list, and then I'm trying to print I. So in a first iteration, what will happen is, so it will try to go to this list and then it will extract 3. Now I is equal to 3. So it is going to print 3 over here. Then what? So then it will go over here. Now I is equal to what? I is a local variable. So again and again, it will go to the list. It will try to extract a data. It will keep on extracting a data set. It will keep on extracting a data set unless and until the entire list or entire collection that you have given will not get exhausted. So here it will try to extract a data set one by one, and then it will start printing all of those data set inside your console. Or maybe in a later stage we will try to see that you can try to store a data set maybe into a db, maybe into some text file, local system, on some server, on some db. Everything is possible. Whatever you can imagine or whatever you can think of, you can code it. So this is what it is going to like perform over here. So it will try to extract a data set one by one, and then it will start printing your data set in this particular place. But what was my requirement? So my requirement was to extract a data set and then try to add 2, 3 or something in all of those list element. And finally I was looking for what? Finally I was looking for a list itself, and this is my requirement. So let's try to achieve that requirement. So yes, I'm able to extract a data set. That is not a big deal because of for loop. It's very simple. And here, so what I will try to do is, so I will try to extract a data set. I will try to do I plus 2 or anything. If it is a string, so I wanted to convert it to upper cases, lower cases. Maybe if I have to split a string, I can perform every kind of operations based on the data set and based on this iteration operation. As you can see, so here I have given I plus 2 and it's completely fine. I'm able to extract a data, and 3 plus 2 is equal to 5, 4 plus 2 is equal to 6, 5 plus 2 is equal to 7. So I'm able to add 2 in every ith element. Now, but still, I'm not able to achieve my goal. My goal was to return a list with this particular element. Now, so what I have to do to achieve those things? So what I can do is I can try to create maybe a brand new list, and I can try to name that as M, and this is the empty list which I have created. Now, so what I can do in this particular place is, so I can try to call M, because I have to, so this is the blank list which I have created. Now what I have to do is I have to add all of those elements after performing this manipulation inside a list, or I have to ingest all of those elements. So all of these elements should be available inside a list. I'm not looking for individual element. As of now, it is trying to print all the individual element, but I want all the element inside a list itself. So not a big deal at all. So I can try to write M dot, and there is a function called as append operation. So append is nothing but APPEND, M dot append. Now what it is going to do, so let's try to understand it. So here, so what I will do is I will try to write in this way. So M dot append, okay, APPEND, yes, now it's completely fine. And if I'm trying to print M over here, it's completely fine. So I have taken this particular list. My requirement was to add all of those elements with 2, which is available inside a list, and then finally give me a list, a brand new list. Or maybe I can try to override the same list L itself. That we'll see. So there is something called as a deep copy and solo copy. With the help of that, so we can try to achieve those operations as well. So here I have called M dot append. Now what append does, by the way, so append always append object to the end of the list. So it always append a data on a tail of a list. So what will happen in this particular case? What has happened? So it will try to extract 3 in a first place. So now I is equal to what? I is equal to 3 in a first iteration. So what I'm trying to do, so I plus 2, 3 plus 2 is equal to 5. And then what I'm trying to do with 5? So I'm trying to call M dot append. M is what? M is a blank list. Append means do one thing, append this 5 in a list. Then in a second operation, second iteration operation, second time, so it will try to extract 4, then 4 plus 2 is equal to 6, and then again append. So appended 6. Then third time, 5 plus 2, and then append it. So in this way, it will end up creating a final list. So append is a kind of operation by which you will be able to insert a data inside a list at the end or at a tail position. Now, So out of curiosity, many of you will ask me a question that what if I wanted to insert a data in between a list itself? Possible. Maybe I wanted to insert a data set on a beginning or maybe at any places which I want. So even those operations are possible. There is a function called as insert function, and with the help of that you will be able to achieve even those kind of operation which will come into a picture for sure. But as of now, just try to learn append operation, and append always try to append a data at a tail at any point of a time. So that is completely fine. Now, so in Python, if you are coming from some other programming background, so you must have seen that generally if we are trying to create a block, so we generally uses a curly braces, and in between we try to write a body means, so whatever operations you have given over here, that is called as a body for loop. So in other programming languages you must be able to see a concept called as curly braces to maintain a body or to maintain a indentation. But here in Python, if you are just a beginner inside of Python, you are going to face this issue again and again, and many times you are going to face this kind of issue. So what happens is, there is no provision of a curly braces that you will be able to find out inside a Python to maintain a body of any kind of a function or any kind of operation like any other languages. So Python always try to follow a indentation approach. So you have to maintain an indentation, and what I'm trying to say by this way, so let's suppose what I'm trying to do is, so maybe I'm trying to make some kind of a mistake. So I have written a for loop, but I have not given maybe like this kind of a things, and in that case it is going to give me that this query is basically a invalid query, or this program is basically a invalid program, because out of for loop, so after this for loop, so you are supposed to give this column, that is must. So that is the first thing. Even when you are trying to create a function, even in our US programming concept, we will try to see whenever you are trying to create a classes, you are supposed to give a column. Now if I'll try to execute it, still there is an issue. Still my issue is not resolved. I told you that give a column, you have given a column over here, but still issue is remains the same. So now this time, so it is trying to give me a different kind of a issue, expected and indented block. What is the meaning of it? So like I told you, there is no provision of a curly braces which exists at all inside a Python like any other languages. So here you are supposed to maintain a indentation. Let's suppose, so what is the meaning of indentation? Means proper space and tabs you are supposed to maintain, or proper hierarchy you are supposed to maintain while you are trying to write a code. And for sure, as a fresher, you are going to make a lot of mistake. So if you are trying to start with a Python, it's very normal. So if I'm going to hit enter in this particular place, so it is trying to show me a cursor over here. So your next line of a code should start from here. So now if I'm going to start my next line of a code from here, it's completely fine. Now if I'll try to execute, it's completely fine. It is able to give me a data set, or it is not giving me at least any kind of a complaint. It is working fine for me. It is behaving properly for me. So you are supposed to maintain an indentation. It's not tough at all. So what you have to do is just hit enter. It will show you. It will show you that from where you are supposed to start writing a code. So you're not supposed to worry about that. But yes, if suppose if I have made this mistake, if I have not given a column, and then if I'm trying to press a enter, in that case, it is going to show you a wrong place. And for sure, that will be an issue, and that is going to give you an error. So make sure that whenever you're trying to write a Python code, so proper indentation is mandatory whenever you're trying to write a Python code. Otherwise, there will be a bug you are going to introduce inside your code, and your code is not going to work at all. This is the only thing that you are supposed to take care of while you are trying to deal with a Python code. Now, so here I'm able to extract a data set. I was talking about a for loop. So I'm just trying to iterate over a list. I'm trying to extract a data set one by one out of the list, and then I'm trying to perform this addition operation with respect to all the list element, and then I'm able to insert all of those data set inside some other list. This is the operation which I'm able to perform. That is completely fine. Let's suppose I wanted to perform a exact same kind of operation, not by like using just a direct list, maybe by using something else. right? Maybe by following some other kind of approach, how I can do that. So just before this, I was talking about a range function, and I will show you a second approach by which you will be able to perform a exact same task like I told you. So I can show you another 10 approach as well, like a list comprehension, mapping function, and then different kind of a custom operations, and by which you can do a same operation. But yes, I will show you like how with the help of range function you will be able to extract a data and you will be able to secure a exact same list. So here I'm not going to write a list, so I'm going to write a range, range, range. Now as we know that a range takes a three argument first of all. So range takes like a three argument. One is a starting point, one is an end point, and another one is a step size, or I can say like a jump it is going to take. So what I will do over here is, so I can try to take a range, so where a range is nothing but, so it will be maybe starting from or maybe I can give a length L. So there is a function called as len, length. What len does, so len always try to tell you that how many elements are there inside a particular collection. Suppose if I'm going to say len of 10, so len of 10, length of 10, or length of L is going to return me 10 because there is a 10 element I have inserted inside this particular list. So fine, len of L is going to give me 10 length of this particular list. So here if I'm going to give len of L means length of L, so for sure it simply means that, so it is trying to give me a range of 10. Now what range of 10 does, so range of 10, so if I have written range of 10, so for sure it is going to generate a data set starting from 0 till 9 excluding 10, I would say. So this is the data set it is going to generate. That is completely fine. And we have what, so we have a data over here, so we have a data over here starting from index 0 till index 9. So if suppose I wanted to extract a data set, so it's completely fine. We have seen that by using suppose this is the list that I have. So by giving indexes, I will be able to extract a data. If I'm going to write L of 0, so it is going to give me 3 in this particular place. So index wise operation, we have already seen. We have already seen in our previous classes. So same concept I'm going to utilize. The only thing which I need is indexes, all the indexes, and that's the reason. So I have given range of like 10 or range of length of this particular list, which is going to return me this particular data. Now what will happen and what are all kind of changes which I have to make in this particular place. So what I will do is, so I will try to write, so let's start with a basic operation. So maybe I can try to write like print is operation to print something in a console. So I can try to write L of I. So L of I can try to write. Now what is the meaning of it? So in this case, a range is going to generate a data set in between, I can say 0 to 9. Now, so in a first iteration, the value of I will be what? Value of I will be equal to 0, then 1, then 2, then 3, and then so on. So here 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, I'm trying to write L of 0, then L of 1, L of 2, L of 3, L of 5, and so on. And in this way, I will keep on extracting a data set out of the list, and I will be able to perform a manipulation operation as well in a later stage. So if I'm going to execute this particular tab, so let's try to understand. Same thing I'm able to get. So it's completely fine. I'm able to secure a same kind of a things just by using this one. And starting from like a 3 till 5, I'm able to extract the data set. Now, so again, coming back to a previous operation, suppose if I wanted to add something. So suppose if I wanted to add 2, so not a problem, not a big deal at all. And then I will get back to the same kind of a statement. So here, so add all the elements to this particular list element and then append all of those things inside a new list called as M. So I can write like a M dot append over here. And in this way, so I will be able to append all the data set inside a M, and you will be able to get exactly a same kind of a data that we were able to get without even using a range function. So like I told you, it's just about writing a beautiful story. So you can write your story in any other way by using any kind of phrases. Similar way, so I can try to write a code for a same thing in a multiple way. It just depends upon my creativity, nothing else. And it just depends upon the practice, what kind of variations I will be able to introduce. There is no hard and fast way. You can write your code maybe into a different way to achieve a same goal. I don't have any issue, and I always suggest people to like do the same thing. Like don't try to follow me or anyone else. Try to build your own thoughts. Try to like do a permutation combination and then try to write a queries. Now one more thing I wanted to introduce over here. So let's suppose I wanted to add all the element inside this new list M if element is greater than maybe 10. This is the condition which I wanted to introduce. So I don't want to like add all those things. I don't want to like accommodate all of those data set which is available over here inside my new list after performing this operations. So what I want is I'm just looking for some data set with some kind of a filter condition. I can do that as well. So it is possible to do that. So let's suppose, so to do that, what I can do is, so I can try to write if else kind of a condition. So I can write over here that if I is greater than or equal to, so greater than or equal to 10. So if is again another kind of a statement that is available in every programming languages. So if you are going to write if statement, so first of all it try to check, it try to validate, it returns true or false. If it is true, it will get inside the body. If it is not true, it will not get inside the body. As simple as that. Simple. So here I have written what? So here I have written if I is greater than 10. I is nothing but, so I is a local variable which is trying to extract a data set one by one. So here I have written if I is greater than equal to 10, then only try to perform this operations that I was trying to perform before. And like I told you, so indentation is very much important. There is no provision of a curly braces, so like a Java or like a Scala or like a C++, where you can try to maintain indentation by using a curly braces, and without using any kind of arrangement you can write a code in those languages. But here spacing, indentation and tab is very much important in Python language. And again, it's always try to beautify your code. That's a logic behind not introducing curly braces, I would say. So here I'm trying to write a condition if I is greater than 10, then only do this operation. Let's see what happens. So now you are able to see, that okay, so I have given this condition on a range function, and what range function is going to return 0 to 9. So the condition will never be true basically, and if condition is not going to be true, it is not going to give me any kind of a data. Now if I'm going to replace these things with L, so in this case what will happen is, so in this case I just have to tweak this code I plus 2, and then it is completely fine. So it is trying to check a condition in a first place. So what will happen in this example? First of all, there is a L. So yes, this is the L. It will try to extract a data set. So I is equal to 3. I is equal to 3. Now it will try to check I is equal to 3 is greater than 10 or not. So 3 is greater than or equal to 10 or not. No, basically it's a false. If it is false, it will not go inside the body. It will not try to perform this operation. Again, it will go to the for loop. So we know that system will keep on iterating inside the for loop unless and until it is not going to exhaust. So it will again go inside the for loop and then again extract the next element 4. So 4 is greater than equal to 10. No, again false. So it is not going inside the condition, or again 5, 6, 7, 8, and then it will try to come over here 23. So 23 is greater than equal to 10. Yes, it is true. Like I told you, if there is a true condition, it is going to encounter. So in that case, it will go inside the body of if statement. Now, so what we have written inside the body of if statement, do one thing, extract the data, add 2, so 23 plus 2 is equal to 25, and append these things where? In a M. So simple, it will try to append it, and that's the reason so you are able to get this result. So this is how you can try to write a condition. You can try to filter out a data set based on this. So if, else, elif kind of a statement which will come into a picture, which you should know and which you should learn as well. So let's for example, so if I'll try to teach you if else kind of a statement, so this is how you can write a separate if else kind of a statement. So I'm going to write something like this. If, so let's suppose I have taken a data set, maybe s is equal to 10, right? And then I have written if s is greater than equal to 10. In that case, do what? In that case, print what? So yes, it is lesser than 10. Now, so if I'll try to execute it, it is trying to print. So basically I'm trying to give equal to condition. Now if I try to remove the equal to condition, nothing has happened. And again, there is no error which I'm able to receive. So it will try to validate whether s is greater than 10 or not. No, 10 is not greater than 10. 10 is equal to 10 basically. So in this case, this condition will be what? This condition will be false. And if condition is false, so in that case, it will never come inside the body of if statement, because this is the body of if statement. This is the operations which I'm trying to perform in this particular place. Now there is something called as an alternative. So you can try to write elif kind of a condition. So you can try to write like a elif. So if it will not fall inside a if statement, then maybe it can fall inside the else statement. You can again write your condition. So again, suppose if I want to write a condition, so I can write like a, okay, so s is lesser than 50. S is lesser than 50. Then do one thing. So perform this operation. So print, and print what? So yes, this data is lesser than 50, and it's completely fine. So basically what happens in this case is, so I have written a if statement. Now if statement is going to return me what? False. Now so it will try to look for some other block as well, some other statement as well. So with if, so you can try to mention elif. It's not mandatory, because you must have seen that I was able to write just a if statement in last case without using a elif. So again, if I suppose wanted to write a multiple condition, so if this has happened, then do this, otherwise do this kind of a condition. If I wanted to write simple if elif kind of a statement, I can keep on writing. I can write a if inside a if itself, if inside a elif itself. So this kind of operations are completely feasible, and you will be able to write it down. So here I'm trying to write that, okay, fine. So s is greater than 10 or not? No, s is not greater than 10. So 10 is not greater than 10. So it's a false. Now it will try to check whether we have another condition or not. Yes, I have given another condition. So here s is lesser than 50. So 10 is lesser than 50, which is nothing but it's true. It is going to give me, it is going to return what? It is going to return Boolean, true. So if it is true, it will get inside the body of this elif statement, and then whatever operations you are going to write. So as of now, I have just written a print statement. I can write anything. I can write a for loop. I can write any manipulations. Fine. So it will be able to perform all of those data manipulation in this particular place, and it is going to print. So let's suppose I have written s is equal to 50. No, 10 is not equal to 50. And in that case, I'm not able to get anything. So let's suppose you have written some kind of a condition which is not valid at all, and you wanted to go for the default one. So in that case, you can try to write like a if elif, and then you can try to write like a else. So there is another default block which is available. So if none of the above is correct, so in that case, it will try to fall inside a else statement, and you can write like none of the condition is true over here. So none of the condition is true, and it's completely fine. I'm able to get another output as none of the condition is true. In between, I can try to introduce any number of a elif that I want. So any number of a condition I can try to introduce it in this particular place. Maybe I can try to write like s is equal to 40 or something like that. So print over here. Yes. So s is equal to 40 over here, and I can write any number of the condition in this particular place. And this is how if, elif, and else is going to work. So if, elif, and else always try to work on true and false. And if you are able to see, I have written a same thing over here. So I'm trying to use my if statement inside where? Inside a for loop to filter out a data set, to restrict my data set, so to put some kind of a condition. Now one more thing. Let's suppose what I have done over here is, so I'm trying to introduce my name in this particular place, SUDH and then KUMAR. Now what is my final requirement? So let's suppose I wanted to add a data set, a new data set in my new list M. If data set is string, if data set is integer, I don't want to add it. Simple. If my data set is string, then only I wanted to add something inside my list. Otherwise, I don't want to add. I think this problem statement is clear to everyone. So what I will do in this particular case. So I think we heard about we heard about a function called as type. What is type? So suppose if we have created maybe some variable c is equal to 10, and if we are going to check a type of c, so it always returns a data type. We know that, we are aware about this. Now what I will do in this particular case is, so my requirement is to add only a string. Just add a string inside a new list which I'm going to create. So I will try to write a condition. So I can try to write a condition over here that do one thing. So if do one thing, if and only, so just try to add an element inside a new list m, just try to append a element inside the new list m if my data set is equal to str. So I can try to check like a type of I. So if type of I is equal to str, then only try to add I over here. And if I will try to execute this, you must be able to see that it is just adding what? It is just adding my name, or like the first name and the last name. It should be like a KUMR, not KLUMR. I think you understand that. So fine. So this is what happens in case of a if. So I can write any kind of a condition. There is no limitations. The limitation is just your thoughts, I would say. So there is no limitation, and you will be able to write any kind of a condition. You will be able to filter out anything, whatever you are looking for. It just depends upon my imagination, and I would say like what is my end goal, and what is my like final things which I'm trying to achieve in this particular place. So this is how I can show you like uses of if, elif, and else. And this is how I will be able to show you the uses of a for loop. Inside that we have used a range function as well. Inside that we have used a if statement as well. I can try to write maybe a else statement as well. So I can try to write like a elif as well, or maybe inside this if statement. So many of you used to ask me a question. Let's suppose if s is equal to 10. So if s is equal to 10, it will get inside this one. Again, if I want to write a condition, that if type of s is equal to integer, not a floating point number, right? So type of s is equal to integer. Do one thing. So try to print. So yes, my data is an integer. That is completely fine, not a problem. So here what will happen in this case is, so I have written the first level of a if statement. S is equal to 10. This will be true. If it is true, it will go inside the body of this if statement, and here I have written print. So it is going to print this one. So yes, it is going to print this one. Now again, so in a body of these things, I have written if type of s is equal to integer. This whatever data I have given, if it is an integer, then yes, my data set is integer. So yes, my data set is integer. So again, if inside a if I'm able to write, or maybe suppose like if I wanted to write like a consecutive elif. Suppose if I wanted to write a consecutive elif, maybe some other condition if I wanted to give, I can write that as well. So elif, or maybe I can write like if type is equal to type of s is equal to str, and in that case, so try to print my data is a string. Or maybe I can try to write like else over here, and as we know that else is nothing but it's a default condition. So I can try to write like a print, so my data is none of the above. Simple. So I can try to write any kind of a condition. Like I told you, it just depends upon my final requirement or final objective that I'm trying to fulfill. And each and everything you can write anywhere. Depends upon my requirement for the data manipulations. So here, as you can see, I'm writing if else condition inside the if condition. Again, I can try to write same thing over here, even in elif condition, even in else condition, I can try to write those things. There is no boundary, there is no foundation. No one is going to stop you. It's very simple. So here, this is how, based on my own imagination, so I'm able to write all of those things in this particular place. Now, so let's try to understand one more thing. So let's try to create one list over here. So suppose if I'm trying to create a list, and then like I'm trying to write a condition okay, 5 6 7 8 9, and maybe I can try to introduce some data set in this particular place. Now I can try to write like a for loop for I in L. As we know that a for loop, what it is going to do, it will extract the data. And then let's suppose like I'm trying to print all the data set over here. So print I, it is going to print all those things. Now, so there is something called as a else statement. Else print nothing is left in my collection, right? So now, as you must have observed, and if you are coming from some other programming background, I can bet you that you have not received or you have not seen this kind of a situation over there. Else with a for statement. Now, so we all have heard about a if else kind of a statement, but we never heard about a for else kind of a statement. So this statement is available inside a Python. Now, this is not if else. This is basically a for else. When it is going to execute this else statement, so it will be able to execute a else statement. If you have written for else, don't misunderstood that it's a if else kind of a statement I'm talking about. No, it's a for else kind of a statement which I'm talking about over here. So it will try to execute this else statement once it will exhaust the entire iterable object. So once it will exhaust an entire list, then only it is going to perform the operation that you have written inside the else block. These things are very important. I will show you that as well. Like whenever we have to perform all those things, and after that, so we have to like close a database connectivity or maybe break a connection. So these things comes into a picture. So here, as you can see, so it is trying to exhaust this entire list. It is trying to print all those lists, means it is trying to iterate over all the element which is available inside the list. And then once this will be done, once for will be done with all the iteration, then it is coming to the else statement. Whatever operations I have written inside the else statement, it is trying to perform all of those operations then and there here itself, and I'm able to get a data set finally. So this is basically a for and else kind of a statement. If because of some condition, if I'm not able to complete my entire iteration, if I'm not able to complete my entire iteration, in that case, it is not going to come inside a else block. I will show you that as well by using a break and continue statement. I will show you. But make sure and keep these things in mind. It's a for else. It's not a if else like any other languages. Yes, we have discussed if else. So yes, that is also possible. That is also there. But there is a for else statement. There is a for else operation that you will be able to encounter. And this is how for else kind of a statement is going to work for you. And this is how it is going to perform these kind of operations, I would say. So it's completely fine, guys. For else kind of operations, so I'm able to perform, I'm able to like do these things. And the next thing what I will do is, so in the next thing, so I will try to show you when it will not come to the else block. So I'll try to show you that basically, that when it is not going to come inside the else block, and in what condition. Like I told you, if somehow, maybe hypothetically, let's suppose somehow if I'm not able to complete my entire for loop, so for sure in this case it will not try to come to the else block. So it will not execute an operation that you have written inside a else block. This is what happens. So after some time, I'll again show you a break and a continue operations. Break and continue operations are important operations, so I will try to show you those operations for sure. But before that, we have talked about if else kind of a block. We talked about a for condition, for loop, I would say. So for with a condition inside that, like a if else condition inside that one. And then we have seen a for else as well. Now I would like to discuss a while statement. So you might have heard about a while statement, and if you have not heard about while statement, not to worry about that. It's completely fine. I will try to talk about it. So we have seen that with the help of for loop, I will be able to extract a data set. So for loop actually works based on the indexes, and then one by one it will keep on extracting a data set out of this. Now the another thing is, there is something called as a while statement. So even with the help of a while statement, so you will be able to perform almost a similar kind of a looping operation. But while operation is a little bit different as compared to your for statement. So let's try to understand that how this while operation is different from your actual conditions. Suppose if I'm trying to create maybe a data set D is equal to maybe 10 I'm trying to create, and then let's suppose I'm trying to create or I'm trying to write something like a S is equal to 0, and then let's suppose if I'm trying to like write some kind of a I is equal to 1 or 0. So this is just an integer variable which I have declared. Now I have some requirement. So what I want is, so I wanted to perform an addition operation. Addition operation of what? So addition operation of all the integer starting from 1 till 10. So starting from 1 till 10. So let's suppose like I have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I wanted to perform an addition operation. I'm looking for the summation of all the integer. So this is the requirement that I have. So how I will be able to perform, or how I will be able to fulfill this kind of a requirement. So there are many ways. Again, just with the help of for loop that we have discussed, I can achieve it. I can write a code. There won't be an issue. But even without that, I can write it. And like I told you, so there are another 10 ways as well, 10, 20 ways by which I can try to perform the same kind of operation. So I can try to write a condition in this way. So I'm just trying to teach you what is while and how you can write a while. So I'm just trying to tell you that while I is lesser than or equal to, I would say a D. So if this is the condition, then do one thing. So S is equal to S plus I, and then try to do one thing. So I is equal to I plus 1. Now, what is the meaning of this? If I'll try to execute it, so it is like going to work fine for me, and then it is going to perform this kind of operations, there won't be an issue. So there won't be any issue in this particular case, and it is going to execute happily. So how it is going to work, and if I'm going to, so suppose if I'm going to like print let's suppose S over here, I'm able to get a summation of all the elements starting from 0 till 10. You can try this out. So just by adding a element manually. So if you are going to add all the elements starting from 1 to 10, so you will be able to get 55. Now how this while operation works, so let's try to understand it. So I have created an integer called as DSI, some random integer, some random values I have given. So my requirement is to like find out the summation of a data set starting from 1 till 10. This is my requirement that I had, and I'm just trying to achieve this particular requirement in this particular place. So I have written while I is lesser than equal to D. Now what is I? I is equal to 1. So 1 is lesser than equal to D. So D is what? D is 10. So 1 is lesser than equal to D. It's a true. Yes, 1 is lesser than equal to 10. 1 is lesser than 10. It's true. Now if it is true, again, make sure that you maintain a indentation. You maintain the body, because there is no curly braces provision which is available inside a Python. So here you will be able to find out that if a condition is true. So while also behaves like a loop. So just like a for loop, but it always try to check a condition in a first place. So it try to check the condition, like if, again, I can try to put a condition even in the for loop. There is no problem with that. That provision is also available, but yes, I'm just trying to teach you while loop. So here 1 is lesser than equal to 10, true. And if it is the case, then in that case, it will go inside the body. Inside the body, what I have done? So I have written something. I have written S is equal to S plus I. Now what is S? So S is not equal to 0. So S is equal to S, which is a 0, plus I. Now what is I as of now? I is equal to 1, which I have given. So now S is equal to 1. And then what I'm trying to do? I is equal to I plus 1. So what is I? I is equal to 1 as of now. 1 plus 1 is equal to 2. Now I is equal to 2. Again, it will go back, because unless and until the condition will not fail. If condition will fail, in that case only it will stop iteration, or it will stop the loop. Otherwise, it will keep on checking. So again, I is equal to 2. Again, it will get back to the while loop, and then it will try to check. I is lesser than D. So as of now, what is I? 2. So 2 is lesser than equal to D. T is nothing but 10. Yes, that condition is again true. So this condition is true, I would say. So again, it will come inside the body. Now, then again, S is equal to S plus I. Now what is S? So S become 1. So S is equal to 1 plus I. Now what is I? I is equal to 2. So now S is equal to 3. And then I is equal to I plus 1. So here in this particular case, what is I? So I is equal to 2. 2 plus 1 is equal to 3. So S is equal to 3. I is equal to 3. So fine, not a problem. Then what will happen? So then again, so it will try to go back to the loop. Again, check the condition. Now, whether I is lesser than D or not. So now I is equal to 3. So 3 is lesser than equal to 10 or not. Again, it is going to give you true. It will keep on doing these things unless and until there will be some step, there will be some point where I will be equal to 11. Then it will try to check 11 is lesser than equal to 10. No, it is basically false, and it will break this entire things, come out of the body, and then it will try to perform the print operation, which is equal to 55. So this is what happens in this particular case. So this is how while loop is going to work. So one by one, it will keep on checking the condition unless and until condition is not going to be false. If condition is false, then it will try to come out of this particular statement, and then it will try to exhaust the entire loop. So it's very simple, it's very intuitive, the way you can try to perform. Now let's suppose if I wanted to know that what in all kind of element it is trying to add, in every step, and then what is my value of S, and then what is the value of I, which I was trying to show you manually. I can try to print that as well, there won't be an issue. So maybe I can try to do in such a way that S, and then I can try to print I over here, and then as you can see, this is the value of S and I it is trying to take in all the steps. Or maybe let's suppose if I just wanted to print a summation, I can try to do that as well. So this is the first of all 1, then 1 plus 2 3, then 3 plus 3 6, and then 6 plus 4 is equal to 10, 10 plus 5 is equal to 15, 15 plus 6 is equal to 21, 21 plus 7 28, 28 plus 8 is equal to 36, 36 plus 9 is equal to 45, 45 plus 10 is equal to 55. Finally 1 to 10 55, I'm able to get it. So I'm just trying to print it. I'm just trying to print it so that after doing every steps, it will try to come to the print statement. Now here, so I'm just trying to write a print out of the while loop. So when it will exhaust the entire while loop, then it will come over here. So this is how a while loop works, I would say. So while loop always try to check a condition. First of all, once it will be able to check a condition, then it will come inside the body of this while loop. If condition is going to be false, in that case it is not going to come inside the body. If condition is true, so it will keep on executing the body of the while loop unless and until condition is not going to be false. Suppose if I'm going to write true over here, true, don't do that ever. So otherwise your entire kernel is going to hang, because here condition is always true. So we have given a universal condition in this particular place, so it will keep on executing, it will keep on executing, because every time it will try to find out true, true, true. Or if you have given any condition so let's suppose you have given a condition, so D is equal to 10. Again, D is equal to 10, because I have already defined D is equal to 10 over here. So again, this is a true condition for a true universal condition. And in this case, again, it will keep on executing your data set one after another. And again, you will be able to face a similar kind of a situation. So fine, guys, we have seen a for loop, we have seen a for else statement, we have seen if, elif, and else statement, we have seen a while loop, we have seen a range function in today's class. So now let's try to perform some other different kind of operation, and let's try to understand that how I will be able to perform all sort of a different kind of a operation. So we talked about a for loop, and I will try to explain you that how we can interrupt a loop in between. So even we talked about a while loop, while condition, and we will be talking about how I can try to interrupt in between. So I will talk about a statement called as break and continue. And again, these statements are very much important. As a learner, as a beginner, you should know that. And it's available in all the programming languages, not only in Python. Just try to find out any languages, it's available. So suppose if I'm trying to write a condition, so for suppose if before that, let's suppose I'm trying to write for I in, and again I'm taking I. So maybe you must be thinking of I is something like we should take all the time. So I'll not take I, I'll take S. Or maybe I can try to take my name as well over here. So for X in, let's suppose SUDH, what will happen? So if I'm going to write this one, so it will try to, so if I'm going to write this one, it will try to extract a character one by one, and then it is going to give it to me. This is what happens when you are trying to give any kind of a iterable object with a for loop. Like I told you, as of now, just remember a name called as iterable, iterator, and generator. There is a huge concept behind that, and I will be talking about that. What is a iterator, what is a iterable object, and what is a generator object, probably in a next classes, on a Monday's class. So here I'm trying to write like a for x in SUDH, print x. So what it will do, same thing, same as a list. So it will try to go to this particular one, and as we know that string always try to store a data in terms of a indexes 0, 1, 2, 3, and so on. So it will be able to extract a 0th element, first element, second element, third element, and then it is going to print it over there. Simple. X is nothing but it's a local for loop variable which I have taken. So it will extract a 0th element s. X is equal to x, print x. Then x is equal to u, print u. So x is equal to d, print d. X is equal to h, print h over here. This is what I'm trying to do in this particular place. Now, so let's suppose I have to write a condition. So I wanted to write a condition where if system is going to encounter d inside my name, so in that case it should not execute this loop further. It should not execute these things further. So how I will be able to do that kind of a condition, or how I will be able to write that one? So keeping this things in mind, so I'm going to talk about a break statement. So what I'm trying to achieve, so I'm trying to achieve that if simple, if my x is equal to s, then do one thing, don't do anything, means terminate the entire loop. If this is not the case, then keep on printing a data in my console. But if this is a case, don't do anything. Simple. Now, so here what I will do is, so I can try to write break. I will try to apply a break. So if this condition is valid, do one thing, apply a break on this loop, and it will try to come out of the loop. If this is not a condition, so I can try to write like a else print what? So print my data, means print my x in this particular case. Now, so you will be able to find out that it is trying to go through SUDH in the first place. It is trying to go through a SUDH in this, or else I can write even this print statement without writing a else block in this particular case. So you will be able to find out that it is going to print all of those things for you. So here you will be able to find out that if x in SUDH, so if s is equal to, I would say, so s itself, that's the reason I was not able to get any kind of a data. So if I'm going to write d, so in this particular case you will be able to find out that yes, it is giving me x is not defined, so because I have taken a capital X. Okay, now let's try to understand it. So here I have written for x in SUDH. So let's suppose I have written x in SUDH. What will happen? It will go to the SUDH. First of all, extract s, and x is equal to what? S is equal to s in this case. Now x is equal to d. Now as of now, x is equal to s. So s is equal to d. No, it's false. So it will not come inside this one. It will try to print it. Fine, printed s. Then in a second iteration, x is equal to u. So u is equal to d, again false. Now it will not fall inside the if statement. It will just try to print it. Now I can write like x is equal to d. So in the third iteration, x will be equal to d. So d is equal to d. Yes, it is true. And if it is true, so in that case, what will happen is it will go inside the if statement. And what I have done inside the if statement. So I am trying to apply a break. So do one thing, apply a break. It means that it will not try to execute, or it will not look for another iteration. It will not go back to the for loop. It will not give a control to the for loop. It will simply apply a break, and then it will come out of the entire loop. So it will come over here. So whatever you have written outside of the loop, so it is going to execute that particular operation. So it is going to perform that particular operation. Suppose if I have written over here like print, so out of loop, that's completely fine. It is trying to print out of loop. So this is what happens in this particular case. It is coming out of the loop. Once this condition is valid, it will try to apply a break. So this is how you will be able to apply a break condition. Now I was talking about a for else statement. So I will show you the difference. So suppose if I have written else over here. Now this is not a else with respect to if statement. Don't try to think in that direction. Although I have used the if over here, but indentation, if you will try to check, so indentation of this else statement is along with the for loop. So it's not a exact same statement. So else, so fine, print what? So print like maybe something like that, like okay, so like I can write like I am able to complete iteration. I can try to write this one. Now you must be able to see that I'm not able to get this statement at all, because what has happened, I was trying to execute, I was trying to iterate through this data, I was trying to extract the data, I was trying to perform some operation on top of the data, but in between someone has applied a break on a for loop. And if you are not able to exhaust an entire statement, or if you are not able to exhaust an entire for loop naturally, so for that, for sure, in that case it will not come to the else block. So it will come to the else block, for else block. I'm not talking about, again I'm repeating itself myself. So here it's not a part of if else block. Don't think in that direction. Indentation or alignment of this else is along with the for, not with the if. So here what it will try to do is, so it will not try to come to the else block, because I have terminated a break, I have applied a break in between the iteration itself. Now let's suppose if I'm trying to like give a condition, if x is equal to z, in this particular condition, see, I have written a condition over here. This condition was never true because x is equal to z. I don't have a z at all. So on which it will come inside the break statement. So it has like completed all of those things happily. Then it is coming to the else block. Then it is coming to the else block. And then finally, whatever print statement, whatever operations after that we have written. So it is trying to execute those particular operations. So like I told you, if for itself is able to complete it in a natural way, in a natural order, if it is able to exhaust the entire options, entire elements inside it, then only it will come to the else block. If it will encounter a break in between, it is not going to come inside a else block. So that is the beauty of using a for and else statement. So if you wanted to perform some operation that should get executed only when your for loop is going to exhaust, then you can go ahead and you can try to use for else kind of a statement, and for sure it is going to work for you. So this is what happens guys in case of a for else kind of a statement that you are going to perform. So make sure and remember that it's not a if else statement which I'm talking about. So it's a for else kind of a statement which I'm talking about. You will not find this kind of a things in general in any other languages. It's a new thing, and that's the reason. So I'm trying to focus more and more so that you will not get confused with the if else statement. So hope this things is like making sense, and this things is very clear to you. Just with me practice it. So just try to open up a new notebook and then keep on practicing. Again, you can try to add, subtract many things, depends upon your thought process, and just try to practice. So fine, I was talking about a break statement. Now I will be talking about a continuous statement. Break means what? Wherever you are trying to apply a break based on some condition, do it, apply it, come out of the loop. You can utilize a break statement even inside. You can utilize a break statement even inside a while loop, and that is completely fine. That won't be an issue. That's completely fine. You can utilize it. Now, so the next thing which I will be talking about is a continuous statement. So break is one kind of a statement which you can apply anywhere in any loop with any kind of a condition. That is completely fine. You can do the permutation combination. Apart from that, so you can try to apply a continuous statement. So what is the meaning of continuous statement? So let's suppose I will try to perform this operation. So for I in, again, SUDH. So I have written same thing, right? And then if I'm trying to write like a if I is equal to maybe like a D. So then do one thing. So if it is equal to D, continue. Now, what is our meaning of this? Print I. What is the meaning of this? Let's try to understand. So here, what will happen in this case is like here I have written for I in SUDH. I think we know that what will happen. It will try to iterate over the data. It will extract the data one by one out of it. So that is like a pretty normal for us. So yes, we are able to understand it. Now here I have written that if I is equal to D. So in a first iteration, it will try to extract S. That is completely fine. S is equal to D. No, it's a false. It will not get inside the body of a if statement. It will print it. Then again get back to the for loop. Again extract U. U is equal to D. No, not at all. So I will not go inside the body of if. I will try to print it. So again, I will try to print S. I will try to print U. Then third time, I will extract D. Now I have written if I is equal to D. So I is D now. So D is equal to D. So yes, true this time. So if it is true, now it will come over here in a continue statement. So what continue does? So continue will always try to give a control immediately to the loop. So continue means what? So I have written print I. So what will happen is, so whenever it will encounter a continue, it will not try to allow or it will not try to execute any query that we have written after this. Immediately it will return a control to the loop. This is what a continue does. It immediately returns a control. Control to whom? Control to the actual master statement, I can say, or a loop, for loop itself. So it will not do anything. Whatever code that you have written after continue, it is not going to execute. Like in this case, it is not printing. Ideally, it should do print I, and print I means it should print D over here because I is equal to D as of now. Ideally, this is what it should do, but it has encountered a continue. And simple continue means is it will try to return a control to the I. It will try to return a control to the I or to the for loop, to this entire for statement. It will try to return the control. So in this way, so again, if I would have written a print before that, for sure. Now, if some of you will give me a code, ping me a code where you will try to include a print in a above statement, means before continue. For sure, in that case, you will be able to get D. But what I'm trying to explain you over here is, so if it is going to encounter a continuous statement, it will immediately returns a control to the for loop, and whatever you have written after continue, it is not going to execute. I think I'm making sense. So now if you will try to compare break and continue with respect to each other, so I have just written simultaneously in this particular place. So here you will be able to find out that break means simply apply a break and then come out of the entire loop. Continue means what? Return a control to the for loop. This is the differences that you will be able to find out in between a continue and a break statement. So remember it. And again, no need to remember. I never recommend anyone to like remember even a single line of a code. It's just like for me, it's like writing a story. So I should just learn. I should just know that how I can write a beautiful story by myself. So it's very simple and intuitive, and it's interesting as well. So fine, guys, not a problem. Now, the next thing which I'm going to discuss, the next thing which I'm going to talk about is a input statement. So we have seen a range function first of all. So we know that range function has been used to generate a data set for me. Then what we have done, so we have used basically, I would say like a for statement. We have seen a for else as well. We have seen if else as well, elif else. We have seen while statement. We have seen like a break and continuous statement. We understood all of those things. Now, so I will try to show you that how I will be able to take a input from a command line or command prompt, or maybe when I'm trying to execute a code. So there are many way to pass a data as an argument, because whenever we try to build a project, so we never hard code anything. Many of the things, many of the argument, many of the parameter, it try to take in a runtime from an environment, from the system, from some of the resources. Fine. So maybe this parameter, this argument kind of a word, maybe it looks like a pretty much fancy for you as of now. So avoid it. You will get to know everything. So I just wanted to like create a contest so that there will be a line inside your brain. So it will. So when I will talk about this, it will not be a new thing for you. So you will be able to like remember at least a word. So just remember a word, nothing else. Everything will be discussed in your class itself, in a live class. So here I was talking about an argument. So we can try to pass an argument from a command line. And there are various ways, not only a command line. There is a lots of argument parser approach by which I will be able to pass a data set. I will try to give inputs instead of giving something and in a hard coded way. So I will try to learn one by one. So as a baby step, so like we are trying to take inside a Python language. So I will try to introduce a one interesting function over here that is called as a input function. So here, if I'm going to write input, now what is the meaning of this? So input means by the time I'll execute, right? By the time I'll execute this input, it will ask me for some kind of a data. I have just inserted this data, and then it is able to perform all of those operations. That is not a problem at all. So yes, I'm trying to give input in this particular place, and I can insert any kind of a data set which I'm going to insert inside the input operation. That is completely fine. I'm able to do that. So I can try to insert integer, I can try to insert a string or anything. But there is one thing that you should remember while using a input. So input wise, you can try to give anything. There won't be any concern, but it always and always returns a string. Even if you are going to pass an integer, float, boolean, long double, double, complex, list, everything will be treated as an string. So remember it. So suppose if I'm looking for some other kind of a data, suppose if I have to insert an integer, I will try to insert it as an integer, but internally it will convert all those things in a form of integer string itself. It will return a string. So I will have to do a typecasting operations. I will talk about typecasting. What is the meaning of typecasting? How we can try to perform this typecasting? I will be talking about that. But as its definition says, that read a string from the standard input. So whatever you are going to give, so it will try to take that as a integer, a string, my bad. So let's suppose I wanted to check it. So I have executed it. Now I'm trying to insert what integer I'm trying to insert. But like I told you, so it is going to return always and always a string. If you have to, or if you are looking for something in terms of an integer, you will have to perform a typecasting. Unless and until you are not going to perform a typecasting, so you will not be able to get a data in that particular way. So let's suppose I'm trying to insert a input. So I will try to store a input data into variable A, and then I can try to typecast it. Typecast what? Typecast A, because I know that it is going to convert even my integer into a string. So I'm just trying to typecast it over here. So if I'll try to execute, now it's an integer. If you have to make sure these things, then you may try to store these things inside another variable called as B, and then you can try to check a type of B. Now it's completely fine. Type of B is what? Type of B is basically a integer. So I'm just trying to do an external typecasting. Now I'll try to execute again, and some of you might have experimented with a string. Now I will try to execute, and it will give you error. What is the reason behind this? So here you have given an input. You have given input as this, which is nothing but it was a pure string. Then you are trying to pass A over here. So you're trying to typecast it. So A to integer. Now this you can't typecast because this is a string. You can't typecast a string data type, a pure string data type into a integer, or character data type into an integer. But if there is a string available, suppose I have a string itself 2 3 4 5, right? This is a string. So if I'm going to pass these things inside, I would say if I'm going to pass these things inside a int, it will be able to typecast it. For example, those who are not able to like get a very clear idea. So just for them, suppose I'm trying to create a string. This is a string because I have enclosed my data set inside a double quotes or single quotes. But inside that data, I have all the integers. That is fine. So if I wanted to typecast it, I can typecast it. I can try to pass all of those things inside the integer function. I will be able to perform a typecasting operation. And now it's a integer. If you will try to store this data in some variable, let's suppose like a, and then if I'm trying to check that what is a type of a, so for sure type of a will be equal to integer. That is completely fine, not a problem at all. Now, so this operation is valid, but let's suppose if I'm trying to pass maybe some kind of a character or some kind of an integer or combination or some just a character, it will give me error. You will not be able to typecast it at all. So if you have to typecast, or maybe if you wanted to iterate over the entire string, and then if you wanted to typecast only, I would say like only an integer part, you will have to iterate over to it, and then one by one individually you can typecast just like a integer kind of a string. But if it is available into a character kind of a string, you can't, or you won't be able to perform a typecasting operation. So don't even try to do that. Now you should remember that whenever you are trying to take input, so it is trying to take everything in a form of a string. So input always try to return a string. Now if you have some specific requirement where you are just looking for an integer, in that case what you can do, you can try to typecast it. So this is a approach, or this is the operation by which you will be able to typecast it. You can typecast into an integer or string by using a str function, by using including inside the single quotes or double quotes, by using a float. So these typecasting operations are very generic, and we always do that, depends upon the requirement. So let's suppose so what I wanted to do is, so let's suppose like I will try to show you one operations with respect to input. So let's suppose I'm going to execute this a is equal to input, and maybe I can try to take a list over here. So 1 comma 2 comma 3 comma 5 comma 6 comma something like that. So that is completely fine. And I have some requirements. So I wanted to execute this entire things, but so I wanted to like create a new list, or like I wanted to create a new list. Suppose like if I have multiple elements over here, 6 6 6 6 6 or 7 or 8 or 9 kind of a thing. Now I wanted to write some kind of a thing, some kind of a code basically, so where it will try to take a value from your keyboard. And suppose if I have given 9, let's suppose if I have given 9, so it should be able to take this input from the keyboard. It should try to check a condition, and then based on that condition, so it should only insert a 9, or it should only insert when it is going to fulfill the condition. So suppose this kind of a code I wanted to write. So what I can do, and I have to create a final list. So let's suppose I have created an empty list as m. Now I can write for I in L, I can say, so if I is equal to, so I wanted to write like this one. So if I is equal to A. Now what is A? So A is nothing but A is a data which I am trying to pass from my side. So if I is equal to A, only and only in this condition. So I'm not hard coding. I'm not giving a hard coded value of A over here. I'm not giving a predefined value. I will try to pass those values basically. Now, so if I am going to write, so if I is equal to A, then do one thing, m dot append. So m dot append what? So append I, means if I is equal to A, only in that case, means suppose if I just wanted to insert only 9, or suppose only 6, only 5, only 1, only 3. So like hard coded wise, I have to write this code multiple times, but I wanted to make this thing dynamic. When I will execute, it should ask me for my inputs basically, right? This is the kind of a code I want to write. So I can write like, okay, so iterate through the entire list. Now check the condition. If I is equal to A, if this condition is valid, then do this append operation. Otherwise, don't do this append operation. And A wise, the condition which I'm trying to write based on A, so A I will try to take from the input. So in the dynamic execution, I will not predefine this A at all. So m dot append. Now I will try to execute it, and when I will try to execute it, so let's see what happens. And I have made some mistake in a code. I will tell you what mistake I have done in this particular code. So after execution, so that I will be able to explain you that you should not do this. So fine, I have executed. Now it is looking for the value of A, or maybe I can try to give some value of A. Nothing has happened. Or maybe I can try to print M over here. So it is looking for A, and okay, so again I will try to execute, and let's suppose, so I'm trying to give A is equal to 5. I have 5, I have many 5s over here, still I'm able to get blank. Why? What is the reason behind that? So let's try to understand it. So here I'm trying to give A is equal to what? 5. Now, so 5 I'm trying to give, but what happens over here? So whenever input try to take any data, so it try to take any data in terms of a string. So 5 is basically, it's been treated as a string in this particular place. And whatever data you have inside this list is basically a integer. So you're trying to match string with integer. This condition will never be a valid condition. It will never come inside this particular body, and that's the reason I'm able to get M is equal to empty. Now let's change the condition. So what I will do is I will do a typecasting, and I will do a typecasting, and then I will try to insert 5, and it's working. So this is what I wanted to show you, that input always takes a string. You have to do a typecasting. Now there is other function. There is other function in which it will try to take a data just in the same format in which you are trying to insert. That condition is there. You will be able to do that. But as of now, I'm talking about a input. So we will try to focus only on a input as of now. So here I'm trying to give the input. Let's try to understand the flow in this particular place. What will happen? So I'm trying to give the input. Now input wise, I have given 5. It will try to take that as a str. I'm trying to perform what? I'm trying to perform the typecasting operation. So now A is equal to what? A is equal to 5 as a integer. 5 as a integer. Now this is L, this is M. I have written for I in L. So fine, it will try to iterate over this entire data set. Now if I is equal to A. So in a first operation, first iteration, I is equal to 1. So 1 is equal to 5. No, false. No, don't go inside this one. Then 2. So again false. I is equal to 2 is equal to 5. No, again false. This false. Then it will come to 5. 5 is equal to 5. Yes, true. Do one thing. Go inside this, append it. Then again it will encounter 5. Again 5. Again 5. So then try to keep on appending, and that's the reason. So I'm able to filter out only a 5 over here. Now let's suppose if I wanted to create a list where list element should only hold 9. So fine, not a problem. I can try to give 9. All the 9 is extracted. Or maybe if I wanted to filter out something based on my mind, so based on my thoughts, so I wanted to extract only a data which is equal to 100. Now there is no data set inside my list which is equal to 100, and in that case it's completely fine. My code is working fine. So it will not be able to give you any kind of a return. It will give you a blank list because there is no 100. So in this way, I'm just trying to show you like how you can make your like a parameter dynamic. So at the time of execution, it will ask you to give a input, and then after getting a inputs from the console, you will be able to perform this operation. It's very simple. It's very intuitive. You're not supposed to worry about it at all. If you wanted to symbolize it, or if you wanted to write like a insert only, and okay, so it will give you the statement as well. So you can write a statement here, only an integer, not a problem. Insert only an integer. I have inserted the integer. Okay, so again, if I wanted to do like a modular, like I wanted to write step by step everything, so it will come to print. Okay, so integer inserted, because if it is not integer, it will fail. If it is not an integer kind of a string, it will not be able to typecast, because we have seen that if we are going to insert a character kind of a string, it fails. So not a problem. Inserted, integer inserted, and then it will go inside this one. Whatever operations that we have written, it will try to perform all sort of operations, and then it will try to come over here. So these are the possible operations that you can do. Input simply means that you can take an input from your console, from your keyboard input, and then so whatever operations you can try to perform, you can try to perform it. So whatever we are discussing as of now, don't worry, we are going to utilize each and everything in our project, in every use cases, in every example. As of now, learn how to code. I would say practice. Try to find out a bug. Try to do some permutation combination. For sure, as a beginner, most of you are going to make a lot of mistake, indentation issue, and all those things. So avoid copy and paste. You will be able to do a copy and paste when you are expert or when you are on a intermediate level. But as of now, just as a beginner, it's my strict instruction and advice to every one of you that try to type. Typing is a best possible thing that you can do in terms of a coding. Simple, just like a typewriter. Keep on typing code, just like a story, nothing else. No need to take any kind of a stress. It's completely fine. Python is not at all tough, I would say. So yes, based on whatever language I have explored as of now. So I have done my coding into a C, C++, and then C Sharp. I never explored R programming. Yes, I know. Scala, I know, and shell scripting, I know, and yeah, Java. Yes, I know a lot. Based on all the programming languages which I have explored, so Python is one of the easiest one, and you can try to perform anything. It just you have to practice for some time. So fine, we were talking about all of those operations, and we have seen that this is what happens in case of a in case of this a for loop, in case of for each statement, and all those things. Now let's try to talk about some small things over here in this particular place. So what happens? So I think we talked about a string. I think we talked about a string. So suppose if I'm going to write like a SUDH, and then if I'm trying to write like a SUDH plus Kumar, KUMAR, if I'm trying to execute it. So plus operator in case of a string behaves like a concatenation operation. It always try to concatenate a two data set, join two data set, and then give it to you. Simple. Plus operator if it is a string. Now suppose if I'm going to write an integer over here, there will be an issue and there will be an error you will be able to get. So suppose if I have written SUDH plus 1, so in this case I'm able to get an error in this particular case. So as you can see, it's very simple, but yes, I'm able to get the error in this particular place. So to avoid these things, you should always try to put your data in terms of a string. And I think we know how to do a integer to string conversion. So just by using a single quotes or double quotes, or maybe you can try to write str. You can try to do a typecasting even in this way, str and then 1. Both ways fine, and both ways going to work for you, I would say. Now, so if I was talking about a list operation, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, suppose if we are trying to use a plus operator, and then if I'm trying to use SUDH, again there will be an issue. So plus operator always behaves like a concatenation operation. It will always try to concatenate a data and then it is going to give it to you. Now, data type must be same. If data type is not same, it will give you an issue. It will give you an error for sure. So make sure that whenever you're trying to use a plus operator, you should use and you must use a similar kind of a data type. Make sure that. So here it is trying to tell me, and again, Python has been designed in a beautiful way. So even if you're going to make a mistake, right, always make sure that try to check the error which it is trying to project, which is trying to give it to you. So you will be able to resolve it by yourself. You don't even need my help, or you don't have to look into Google for any kind of even complex coding. As of now, we are just doing a 1-2 line of a coding. Going forward, we'll start doing 100 or 1,000 lines of coding. In your project, there will be 1,000 lines, 10,000 lines, which we have already mentioned, the project that we have created for you. So in that one, so yes, and again, debugging is one of the best possible skill that you should develop if you wanted to become a good programmer. And again, programming wise, like I have seen my friends, I have seen a kind of a person who is from a non-technical background, purely non-technical background, right? From a arts background, from the commerce background, even they are a better coder than me. When I was in colleges, so I have seen that a guy from a civil engineering background, a guy from the mechanical engineering background, so they are doing a much better logical coding than me from a CSE background. So coding is just an art, I would say. It's just an art. It's just like a story writing, right? And again, so whenever you're trying to do a coding, so make sure that writing a code is 20% and debugging a code is 80%. As of now, you will not be able to understand it, but in future you will be able to understand. So if you wanted to become a better coder, a better story writer in by using any languages, so try to develop your debugging skill, because it's 80% that you need. As of now you might feel that, okay, fine, so I need 100% of programming skill. No, not at all. So just go and ask anyone like who are actually doing a coding, who actually do a coding, who write a code. And again, it's just an art, like I told you. It's nothing like a fancy or nothing frictional, I would say. It's just an art. So you have to develop that art, I would say. And debugging is 80%. Debugging means correcting an error, finding an issue inside the code, writing a better modular coding, right, doing a better exception handling, writing using a better indentation, better modulations. So packaging, this is what we do. So in a notebook, just writing a code into a notebook is just a baby step for you, just as a learner. Going forward, this mindset will change. I will try to change your mindset by the end of maybe a 6th or 7th week. And just it's a starting point for you. This is a first week for you. So here, I was talking about a debugging. So don't try to look into a Google immediately. I don't try to ask this question immediately. Ask this question to yourself, to you, that why I'm getting this error, how, what are the solutions. And again, Python written in a beautiful way, like it is going to point out that, okay, there is some problem over here. And again, can only concatenate list to the list, not to the integer. So it always try to give you a proper hint as well. So instead of asking someone to debug your code and to fix an issue, as of now it's a very simple line, a small line. But suppose I have written 100 line, and then you will go and you will ask someone that, okay, fine, so what is the like a mistake that I'm trying to make? No, you're not supposed to ask. Simple, look into the error, develop your debugging skill, because that is 80%. Writing a code is just 20%, just 20%. Remember that. So I don't know what is the opinion of a different kind of people, but it's my own personal opinion, and I think many people will agree with that who used to do a coding. So debugging skill is very important skill, and try to develop it. And it's very difficult to develop a skill. Coding skill, you can develop it within 1 week, 2 week, 3 week, max to max. You can develop it if you are trying to like practice a code. It's possible within 6 weeks. If you are practicing with me, you will be able to understand all the code. I can assure you that you can understand all the Python code, whatever is written. Maybe you will not be able to form a logic by yourself. Maybe you will not be able to write it down by yourself. But understanding wise, you can understand any code which is written anywhere, for sure. Python, only Python. I'm not talking about any other language. But debugging takes time. It takes years to develop it. So it depends upon the number of the situation scenario that you have encountered. So that always comes with the experience and work, a heavy weighted work, not just from the small. Because if your work is complex, for sure you will get into a very complex things, and sometimes you'll feel that, no, I'm not able to understand it, no, I'm not able to proceed it ahead. You can take a help in that case. You can come to me, you can come to my team, and you can come to any of the experts, and then they will try to help you out. So even now, so we are learning, we are trying to develop ourselves. So even if I'll talk about me, I keep on doing a coding, I make a lot of mistake, and then from there I learn. Simple. And it's like a never-ending process. I can't even claim that maybe I know just a 5% of coding. I don't even know that. Maybe I just know 1 or 2% of the Python, or maybe 1 or 2% of the coding. I can say that, no, I can understand according to C, C++, Java. I have written that. I have worked into that one. But still, I'm not claiming. I never claim that, no, I know like 100% of coding. Maybe I just know 5%. Maybe I just know 1 or 2%. But yes, I know how to learn a new things, how to adopt a new things, how to debug a things, and which we have developed, which I have developed. Going forward, still I'm trying to develop, still I'm trying to learn from my students as well. So they used to give me a mini permutation combination in my live classes, when we take a live discussions, and then and there we used to solve it. That's the best way for that is basically learning for me. So I used to solve it then and there. I used to challenge myself, and then I used to learn. Do a same thing. So the more situation you will face, you will encounter a more comfortable zone you will be able to get into. Now, so here I'm trying to concatenate list plus string. That was just a kind of a like a motivational lecture for you. So here I'm just trying to like append a list with a string. Yeah, I know that it's a problem, it's an issue, and it is giving me an issue. What I have to do is, so you have to take a similar kind of a data. So you can try to like write this one, because we know bracket implements like a list, a bracket denotes a list. So here I'm trying to write list plus list, and yes, this is the final data set I'm able to get. So list plus list you can append, string plus a string you can append, And integer wise, if I'm going to do like 1 plus 2, it's basically a addition operation. It's basically a numerical addition operation. So 1 plus 2 is equal to 3. Simple. So these are the things that you will be able to learn, you will be able to get. So now my advice to you will be, I have already shared a slide with you. So whatever topic, not exact code which I'm practicing, because I used to just pick a topics and I used to write a code by myself. I always prefer that one. So so whatever like a seed, whatever like a Jupyter notebook that we have shared with you, in that all those examples are available with a different permutation combination sets. Try to do it. I will push some assignments as well, by tonight. So that was my plan, that by Friday I will try to give you some assignments, not more much question, because as of now you all are beginner, and just try to solve those assignments, and try to submit those assignments. I will tell you also how to submit your assignments, and yes, try to practice it, and yes, try to utilize this Saturday Sunday. Again, news is like lockdown has extended, so try to utilize these things as much as possible. And from next week onwards, so me and Chris and everyone was planning, so people are actually not aware about the actual project delivery and actual stack into a project. They don't know like how to build a resume, what they should write into a resume, because many of you have maybe taken some classes of machine learning, data science and all those things from many institute, but still you are not able to get a call. Other people are able to get a call even though there is a job into a market, and you don't know that how actually project works. So most of you are not able to come out of the Jupyter notebook, so far so forth. You are just trying to do everything into a Jupyter notebook, and you don't even know like how actual project is been delivered. You have just done a so-called caption project from somewhere, right? And maybe you are trying to do like a Kaggle project or something like that, which is not an actual one. So you are lagging somewhere. And again, in terms of industry, some of you belongs from a healthcare, supply chain, oil and gas, or maybe telecom, maybe automobile industry. So you belongs from a different industry, and you don't know like how we build our architecture on every level, lead level, or maybe on architect level, on a managerial level. You don't know how project delivery happens. So me and Chris, so we were planning to like start one session, community services, again, that will be available for entire world just for free, no charges, everything will be available for free, in which for 3 weeks, because I can't close these things in just one day with 2 hours of discussions. I don't want to like take a shortcut, because you will not be able to get any kind of a benefit. So I wanted to discuss, like I used to discuss in my other batches, where people enroll and they used to like pay for that under affordable AI. So I'm just planning to make it as an open source in a much better way, where so I will talk about the architecture, that okay, so in this domain, this is the problem, this is the solution which is possible, this is the project that we used to work on. Like I told you in a very first day, that even my company is working into a many domains. Even I was working with the Ernst & Young, then R&D division of a Verizon telematics division, autonomous car. Before that it was a Deloitte. Before that I started my career with Wipro. So in between, so I have worked with the many clients, like sometime healthcare clients, sometime with the retail and supply chain clients, and sometime with the telematics clients, I would say, and big projects. So I will try to talk about a end-to-end architecture, starting from the data ingestion from all the data sources with the file name, each and everything, till our very last, where we try to publish a report or we try to give a control. So first of all, I will try to discuss, I will try to talk about a generic architecture, then I will get into a domain wise, and then finally I will talk about your resume discussion as well. Because I completely understand that once this lockdown will be over, so eagerly you all will be like looking for like a job. Most of you will like look for those things. So I think this is a need of a time, and that's the reason. So we thought of like making these things as open source again, because yes, if you are able to join those sessions, you will be able to get an advantage, you will be able to get a lot out of it, even more than this technical things. Because in your interview or in your resume you mention a project, that is a front face for you. And if you don't know how to present a project, how to write a technology, what format of a resume you should use, what things you should do, what things you should not do, how you can build your own profile, how you should explain your project in front of an interviewer. Because as of now, those who have even done a training of MLDL or something, or data analytics from somewhere, So whatever project that you have done, that was basically an open source project, and you can't write those things into your resume. And if you have written those things in resume, that might be an issue. Because of that, you are not able to get the call. So you should give a realistic project, realistic idea. And when you are giving this realistic idea, realistic project, including inside a resume, you should know end to end each and everything. And again, lots of things maybe you will not be able to think of as of now. So we'll publish this curriculum very soon. Try to join this session. You will get a dashboard access similar way, without doing anything. Just click and then get into a dashboard. And from next week onwards, I'm trying to start it. Timing and all those things I have not decided yet. So I will maybe probably by Saturday or Sunday. So I will let you know about the timing. I'll send you a post. If you're interested, join those things. Again, that is a part of our community services, giving back to community. Because yes, if we know something, we should help out, and we should understand the pain points, and we should resolve those pain points. This is what I believe. This is what me and Chris believe in. And that's the reason. So we are going to start it up. That will help you out even more than these technical things or data analytics things that we are trying to close. So with this, this is all about the today's topic. My simple, sincere request and recommendation and suggestions to all of you will be to practice. Without practice, you can't become, just by using a copy and paste of a code, you will not be, you can't become a better coder. You will not be able to convert your thoughts into a code. You will not be able to write a better story. So try to learn how to write a better story, I would say. Then everything will be easier. Practice is the only key things which you should do. Many people used to say what I should do. One word answer: practice. That's it. There is no alternative of that. Simple. There is no alternative of a practice. You will be able to find out. Doesn't matter how many free books you are able to get, how many free lectures I'm going to give you, how many lectures you will be able to avail from a YouTube, from anywhere, but you will not be able to learn by attending a lectures. You will be able to learn just by practicing. That practice is the only key things which you should focus on. Apart from that, me or anyone will be able to help you out if you are going to practice. Otherwise, with it's beyond even our scope to help you out. I can I can teach you a few patterns. I can teach you coding what I have learned. But when you will start doing by yourself, you will get some different kind of a dimensions, and that is what you should get. That will something which will help you out to do a coding. With that, thank you so much, guys. I think I will take some live questions from you guys, and I think you all are getting all the responses in Q&A section. And those who have joined through a YouTube, so they are able to get a response from our team. So yeah, make sure that you all post all of your technical queries. Don't try to post something which is irrelevant. Strictly, I don't entertain those things. I always try to follow something which is very strict, which is very strictly all the time. And I don't entertain in general. Doesn't matter who the person is at all. That doesn't matter for me at all. So fine. I will start taking some questions, and I'm going to allow you to speak. And yes, one by one. So you can take your
Hi,
chance
Sudan.
and you can ask questions. Yes, go ahead, please.
Can you please
Hello.
explain that same
One by one. Yeah, sorry.
one of the thing that you explained, like A equal to input of list of input, that particular, yeah, this one.
Okay. See, okay, sorry. So what happens? Tell me. So whenever I'm trying to write input, right? So suppose like I have written input. So I have written, if I'm going to write input over here, and if I'm going to execute it, so whatever data I'm going to paste over here, so what will happen? So can I say that it is going to convert everything into a string?
Correct.
Right? Okay, everything into a string.
Hello.
But here, so just wait, if I'm trying to answer some question. So here I have so if that will be the case, so can I say that, so we are trying to compare integer with a string, which will never be true. And in that case, can I say that it will never come to this particular block and not be able to append a data based on my condition? Agree?
Correct.
So
Agree.
that's the reason. So I'm trying to do what? I'm trying to do a typecasting. So I'm trying to enclose this entire things in a integer, so that it will be able to do a typecasting if it is an integer input that you are going to give. That's it.
Small, I'm not getting this logic of. I mean, I understood the integer part, why we have converted into integer.
Yeah.
So for
which line? Which line?
First one, why we have converted string to integer, I've understood the variable
Okay.
A.
Okay.
And then next is L. We have given some list of numbers.
Yeah,
and
list is given. Yes.
is a empty list, and we are
Okay.
trying to append M with the given a condition. So if I equal to I in L, if I is equals to A,
Okay.
append I. So when you give this, I will ask. There is a dialog which will ask to give any one of the number.
Yeah.
Let's say,
Suppose I have given. Let's suppose I have given 5. Fine. Okay. So A is equal to 5. I have converted this thing into an integer. So let's suppose 5 is an integer. Fine.
so after that, after giving that, I'm unable to get any output. My output is blank because my input I have given 5.
Okay, so the only the only thing, the only mistake that you are trying to make over there is like a indentation mistake. This is what I can assume, right? So or else you are not able to print it. So just try to print M in some other tab, or maybe try to print your variable in which you are trying to store this list in somewhere else. You will be able to get it. Or else you are trying to make some indentation mistake. Or else do one thing: paste your code inside Q&A immediately. I will try to debug your code
that
within
helps.
30 seconds.
Thank you.
Yeah. So paste your code. Paste your code inside Q&A, and I'll try to debug it.
Yeah, hello.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Can you please explain me while statement?
Okay. While is nothing but it's a very simple statement, I would say. So it first of all try to check a condition, right? So suppose if we wanted to check a condition, and unless and until the condition is not false, right? So it should keep on checking. Right. So if I wanted to write such kind of a statement, so in that case, while loop comes into a picture. So if you will try to understand over here, so if you will try to understand in this particular place, so I have written what? I have written D is equal to 10, right? So can I say that? So D is what? D is 10. So I'm trying to compare 10 is equal to 10. So can I say that always it is going to give you true? It will never give you false. Right? So it will try to execute this, again come back to while, again execute this, come back to while, right? But at the same point of a time, instead of writing these things, instead of doing this particular operation, so if I'm going to write like if D is, or maybe I can write like the if I is, so if I is lesser than equal to 10, right? If I lesser than 10, so can I say that in first case, what is the value of I? Tell me. What is the value of I? 1. Now 1 is lesser than 10. True, false?
False.
1 is lesser than 10,
true.
True, right?
Yeah.
True. So can I say that it will get inside the body, right?
Yeah.
Now again, I am trying to increment I is equal to I plus 1. I plus 1 is nothing but 2. Can I say that I will be 2?
Yeah.
I will be 2. Then again we'll check. 2 is lesser than 10. True, false?
Yeah, true.
2. So again, it will get inside the body. Again, it will try to increment the value of I, right? So I is equal to now 3. Agree?
Yeah.
Then 3 is lesser than 10. So then again, it will be true, false?
Yeah. Yes.
True, false?
That is true.
True, right? So can I say that it will keep on doing these things? Now there will be a point when value will be equal to 11, right? We are keep on doing I plus 1, I plus 1, I plus 1. So I will be equal to 11, right? Now, so it will try to go over there. It will try to check 11 is lesser than 10. True or false?
False.
False. Break the loop. And then whatever I have written outside the loop, it is going to print that one. So this is what happens. Making sense?
Yeah.
Simple.
Sir.
Yeah.
One more thing. Can I get any PDF material, something like that?
Sir, this same material is already uploaded in your dashboard. So not a PDF. So same notebook we have uploaded so that you can practice in panel with me. So it's already uploaded in your dashboard itself. That's the reason. So we are giving you a lifetime access with the dashboard so that all the material, all the recordings, you can access it, you can practice it by yourself. Yeah.
Okay.
And again, assignment will be available same basis.
Hi, Sudhanshu.
Yeah.
Hello.
One by one.
Hello. Yeah, this is Aniket. Hi, Sudhanshu.
Aniket, go ahead.
Yeah, this is one question from me. So you wrote m.append I plus 2. So what is the use of I?
Sorry,
m.append you wrote I plus 2.
Okay.
So the use of I plus 2 on
So
there.
nothing, just I wanted to like append an element, but I wanted to increment element by 2, every element. Simple.
Okay, every element you are
I'm trying to add 2 with every element. That's the reason. That's
okay, okay. You are increasing now that.
Yeah, just 2 by 2,
Okay.
every element. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hi, Sudhanshu.
Hi, Sudhanshu.
Yeah.
Hi. Hello.
Hi.
Yeah, go ahead, one by one. Go ahead.
Line number 82. Sir. Like,
Line number 82. Fine. 82. Where is 82? Tell me what is the statement. I'll try to write it down again. If you want.
okay, that was the while loop, sir.
Okay, while loop again. Just now I have clarified the doubt with respect to while loop.
Yes, sir. Here, see, I is equal to I plus 1.
मेरा आवाज नहीं जा रहा है मेरा
Okay, sir. I got it. Thank you.
Got it?
Got it.
Okay,
Yeah.
great.
Hi, Sudhanshu.
Yeah,
Hello,
go
sir.
ahead. Yeah.
Sir,
So, Sudhanshu, what is the benefit for and else loop? Because we can
See,
execute
for
that.
an
Mhm.
yeah, for
Yeah,
an
we
else
can.
loop, like I told you, so else it will come to the else block unless it will not come to the else block unless and until it is not going to fully exhaust a loop. So if there is some interruption in between, it will not come to the else thing. So suppose if I wanted to write or if I wanted to build something, so where unless and until one thing will not finish itself completely, other things should not happen. If this kind of a situation we are trying to handle, right? So in that case, can I say that for else will be useful?
Yeah,
And
but we
in
can.
my next class
Mhm.
itself, I'll show you in my like a 1.2 session, so which I will be talking about in next session. So I will tell you like another example of for else, that is a very good example that I have included,
Because.
which
Mhm.
always clarify the idea. But yeah, so it will come to the else block once it will exhaust the for loop. So now what,
Because
tell me
I
your
have a
understanding.
yeah, because
Yeah.
I have a confusion. Like we can execute that line without else part. Like
We
after
can
come.
execute those lines without else part, that is
Mhm.
completely fine. There is
Mhm.
no if and but with that, right?
Mhm.
But can I say that it will execute that line always? It will execute this line always, right?
Yeah, after
It's
completing the
executing.
loop.
Now
Yeah.
let's suppose if I wanted to apply a break in between, right? Suppose if I'm
Mhm.
writing if I is equal to maybe 8, then do one thing, break, right?
Mhm.
So can I
Mhm.
say that? So even in this case, it is trying to print these things. And can I say that I have not completed my for loop? I have applied a break at 8, so it is not even trying to iterate over to it. Can I say that?
Mhm. Yeah.
But still it is printing.
Mhm.
It still
Yes.
it is trying to perform this operation.
Yeah.
I don't want that actually. So I want to perform this operation only when it will try to complete itself, right?
Okay. Okay.
Now
Got
what
it.
I will do? Now what I will do? So I will try to
Mhm.
write a else over here. So this is else, and then inside this else block, so I can try to keep these things. So if it is not able to complete this entire list, nothing will be printed. Means this statement will not be executed. Making sense?
Yeah. So it is also applicable for while loop, or it is only for
No,
for.
so only for for loop, I would say.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
sir,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hi,
Yeah.
Sudhanshu.
One
when
by
we
one.
execute for loop, and you said that the I will take the value from the list. So does that so it is that the I like performs like pointer in C?
Not exactly, but you can try to say that there is no concept of pointer. There is something called as a indexing. It try to follow. There is a very thin line you will be able to observe, because as a fresher, so yes, I completely understand that people used to like learn C. Even I have done that, and all those pointer operation, malloc operation we used to understand, but it's an indexing operation. You try to like hash it through the indexing.
So I searched about it, and like I found that it was written every variable in Python works as a pointer.
So basically every index, almost people used to say, you might have read these things maybe in somewhere over the Stack Overflow or somewhere, people used to write like it behaves like a pointer, right? Now, so I don't want to get into that discussions, I would say, because yeah, so you can try to understand that as a indexing, and indexing is almost similar to a pointers. There is a minor difference. There is a thin line that you can draw in terms of a definition. If you'll check, look, now it's like behaving like a pointer itself. So it is trying to go to the first index, then second index, then third index, then fourth indexes, and it is trying to store the element. It is trying to give you the element, and then you are able to extract through it. So yes, in a layman way, you can try to compare. You can say that it's almost similar to a pointer, but definition wise, I will disagree a little bit.
So we can retrieve value. So while retrieving value, it works as a pointer. We can't change that, so we don't call it. It works as a pointer.
Yes, yeah. So because see, in pointers, what happens is, so there is a difference. If I know the pointer location, I will be able to manipulate a pointer location's values, and then I can try to override it, or maybe this is what we used to do in a dynamic memory allocation, right? So if you're coming from the C background, so maybe you heard about dynamic memory allocation into a C, and this is what we used to do. That's the reason. So, and in general, people who used to just give advice, right, over the Stack Overflow or over somewhere, they used to mention that no, it's exactly as a pointer, but I don't agree with their thoughts, I would say. So I have my own thoughts in this regard, and I will say that yes, you can consider this as a pointer, but not 100%. Yeah.
Okay, sir.
Hope it
Hello,
makes sense.
Hi, Sudhanshu.
Hi, sir.
Go ahead with your question. So yeah, go ahead.
Hi,
Yeah,
Sudhanshu.
go ahead.
Hi, Sudhanshu. In regards with the continue statement, wherein it was typed as SUDH. Yeah.
Okay.
When it, I didn't understand the logic behind that. It typed S, it did type U, it
Yes.
almost kind of stopped at D. It did not print D,
No,
and
so
it
basically
went to
continuum
H.
is what? What is the definition which I told you about a continuum? So
Continuous, yeah, to continue, right? I mean, we're asking
continuum
it
is
to continue
what? So continuum is pass a immediate control to whom?
to
To
the
the loop.
first, yeah, to the
To the
first.
loop, to the
Huh.
loop itself, right? Pass
Yeah.
the continue like control to the loop. So if it will encounter continue, so suppose if I have written multiple line of a code over there, right? I have written print, I can write another 5 line 10 line, right? It will
Yeah.
not try to execute this line, immediately it will pass. So if it will not try to execute this one, so can I say that it will skip printing D, because as of now variable is I is equal to D, right? That's the reason. So you will not be able to find D over here, and after that you will try to find H. Making sense? So continue, simply try to pass the control, immediate control to the conditional statement or the loop.
And but it keeps that particular alphabet. For example, in this case, it keeps that particular this
No,
thing, and
don't
then
try to interpret in that way. You might be thinking out that, okay, fine, so it is not printing this thing, so it will print. It's fine. I have given the print statement after the continuous statement. That's the reason it's not printing, right? So don't think in other way. I would say that the way your brain is trying to think of. So yes, we have a variable D at this point of a time. In a third iteration, I would say I is equal to D, right?
Yeah.
But so if I will try to again pass, so again, can I say that pointer will move to H? Now I will be equal to H, and with H, so yes, it will be try to print. So continue simply means that don't try to think anything else. Continue simply means that pass a immediate control to the condition or to the
in
loop.
case if I would have written S in that
In
case,
so in that case, what will happen is, so it will try to keep this S, and so if you have written S over here, right? So can I say that? So first of all, it will try to go over here. It will try to extract S, right? Now I is equal to what? I is equal to S. Agree? Now if I is equal to S, so this condition will be equal to true. So it will try to continue. Continue means it will try to give a control to the for loop, right? It will not print S over here. Making sense? Then it will go to what? So once U. So now I is equal to U. So can I say this condition is false? So it will not come inside this body. It will try to print I. Now if I'll try to execute this one, so you will be able to find out that it is going to print UD and
UDH. Yeah.
simple. Right? So this is how it happens. It's very
And
basic
here,
and simple operation.
one sec.
UDH.
And here I stands for index and M stands for, if I'm
No,
not.
ma'am,
Sorry.
ma'am, or so whatever it is, like so I told you can give your name as well, right? In a very beginning. So there is no such value called as I or M or J which exists. You can give my name, you can give your name. I think this is the very first statement which I have made when I was started this discussion. I think you missed that.
When we write M
when someone else
append,
is talking.
one second. When I write M append,
okay,
does M stand for anything?
Ma'am, so M doesn't stand for anything. It's just a variable. So I think you should attend the first class, and then you should learn how to create a variables, which I have discussed in a very first class, right? And M or L or here
Whatever,
I or A that I have taken, this doesn't stand for anything. This is just a variable. I can name it anything, depends upon me.
Okay.
Identification.
Thank you.
Yeah, hi sir. Is this possible to get the lower bound and upper bound with the help of list?
Have you tried these things? I have taught you
Hello?
slicing, right? So have you tried those things, Sumit? Try this.
Hello.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, sir. Yeah, hi sir.
Amarnath, go ahead.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Is this possible to find out lower bound and upper bound using the list?
Amarnath, have you tried these things?
Sir, I have not tried, but for the
What
first
is the
time.
reason? So do you want me to write all the code in your entire life, and you want all the code from to write written by someone else? I asked you, right? Practice it. Just practice it. For me, within 15 seconds, I can write it. So lower bound and upper bound, if you're looking for, so just do one thing. So try to create a list, and then so you can try to find out the length, and length means so it is going to give you the final element, length minus 1. Try to access it. It will give you the lower bound and upper bound. That is possible, right?
Okay,
but you should practice it, Amarnath, by yourself and then ask question. Yeah.
Hello, Sudhanshu.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sir, second question.
So
Sudhanshu, I would
Go ahead,
like to know the difference between list and ranges.
Okay, so list is basically, I would say, so list is a kind of a iterable object. That's the reason I told you, like, I will talk about a iterable, iterator, and a generator. So range basically behaves like a generator. Now you will ask me a question that what is the meaning of generator? right? In a layman way, I would say that generator is a kind of an object which try to generate something by remembering what has happened in a past. That is called as a generator. This is just this is just I would say definition, right? I will show you how you can create your own generator range kind of function, because range is what? Range is trying to, suppose if I'm written range, right? RANG, range of 10. So it is just giving me range object. It is not giving me data as of now. It is not giving me data set. It is just giving me range object. Ideally, it should give me data from a 0 to 10, excluding 10, so 0 to 9, right? But this is behaving like a range object. Now you can try to create a range kind of object by yourself as well. And to do that, first of all, you should understand that what is the meaning of a generator, what is the meaning of a iterable object, what is the meaning of a iterator. So then only you will be able to create it, or you will be able to understand the actual differences. And it's very important as far as interview part is concerned. Because in an interview, people will not ask you like how to create a list or how to create a range. People will ask you like, what is generator object? Explain me. Because that is a little bit difficult to explain and to understand in the first place. So I'll talk about that. Just wait for next class.
Yeah. In addition to that, in addition to that,
when someone is talking, right? So you should not speak. I think you all understand that part, right? Okay, go ahead, Abhinav.
Yeah. So in addition to that, actually I've tried to check the type when I've created the range, and then so we can iterate over ranges as well, because I've ran a for loop.
Exactly, sir. You can try to iterate over the ranges as well. So suppose if you wanted me to showcase, you should try this out.
Yeah,
for
I've tried that.
Range 10, if I'm going to print, right? So I can try to do the print operation, and then I can try to write like a I over here. I can try to iterate over to it, or else what I can do is I can try to pass these things inside this list operation. Even I will be able to get the data set. Or else what I can do is I can try to pass this data inside maybe A is equal to, A is a variable which I'm trying to create, RANGE, and then range is equal to 10. I can try to call this, there is a function called as next, which is iterator function. So as of now, you are able to get a error as a iterator. And this is what I will discuss in next class. What is the meaning of iterator?
Okay.
Here you are getting that error.
Yeah.
So,
hello, Sudhanshu.
Wait when I'm saying something. ITER, and inside iter just try to pass A over here, and then try to store these things inside the B. And now, so just try to do one thing. So you can keep on doing next of B, one by one, and even it will behave like a for loop. So I will teach you that how for loop internally behaves. See, 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? This is an actual concept which you will get like for loop is iterating over to it, right? But how? How for loop is setting a data set, right? So how for loop is trying to make something as a iterator. If some object is a iterable, right? How it is trying to extract a data set from some kind of a generator, because I said that range is a generator function, right? But how it is able to extract it? I said that list is a iterable object, but how it is able to extract it, right? So we will try to understand a core of it when you will try to understand what is actually iterator, what is a generator, and what is a iterable. And that's the reason I told you. And this is the this is what happens in a backend, in a for loop. When you try to write some for loop, this is what happens. So I will try to explain you. And these are the question like people generally ask if you are going for the Python interview.
Hi Sudhanshu.
Hello, Sudhanshu.
Hi Sudhanshu.
Hello.
So in for loop and while loop, we can able to iterate, or we can able to increment by 1 only. So if I want to increment by 2,
no sir, who told you? Did I mention that you can just try to increment by 1?
No,
right?
by default it is taking plus.
By default it is taking. I will going forward, I will show you that even into a reverse direction, even by using some kind of steps, even by following some kind of a pattern, you will be able to iterate. That's the reason I asked you, do a permutation combination. Not a problem if you're not able to do it. So anyhow, in a class itself, so we will be discussing, we'll be talking about those things. Yeah, but there is no such provision that you should just use like for once. Yeah, next question.
Hi.
For loop and while loop.
Yeah, go ahead, Krishna.
So is there any performance kind of benefit for loop and while loop? Because
no, basically like if you're trying to implement, or if you're trying to write a loop inside the loop, so anyhow it is going to give you big O notation as a n square. So there is no performance benefit you will be able to get, but there is some function which is available like a map, reduce, and filter function, which try to give you a performance benefit, and which we are going to discuss in our upcoming lecture. So with that, guys, so I would like to close this session. So those who is having an issue, I think you have already asked all the questions. I can see like we have answered 543 questions in this last 2 hours, just in a Zoom, and again parallelly we are replying back to the YouTube. So 500 is a huge question, and like I told you, so don't wait for me to finish a lecture. This is not a good way to like learn something. Practice it parallelly, because this is every time it happens. It's not a first batch for me, or it's not a first experience for me, right? I keep on asking people that, okay, practice it, practice it. Most of you, apart from just because of some excuses or just because of some laziness, so you don't practice. And again, even after classes, so you will not be able to practice because you are already investing lots of time here. Utilize it with me, utilize it, practice it, challenge me, like give me some kind of a challenges, that okay fine, so try to show me this kind of a code, is possible or not, based on the discussion that you have done. I'll show you then and there itself. You can watch my previous lectures, previous videos, which is available. This is what I do in general. So you will be able to give me a challenge when you will be able to practice in your system, right? For sure, I'm not a best coder that you will be able to get, or best teacher that you will be able to get, but still with you, so maybe whatever you can ask, I'm eligible enough to answer then and there within 15 to 30 seconds. And even a person who has joined through this Skype or through this Zoom chat or then YouTube, so everyone is eligible enough and they can write a code immediately. Doesn't matter number of line or complexity of the code. So everything we can do. So yeah, just try to practice. It's for you basically. And yeah, so whatever I have discussed, like with respect to a project and resume discussions, so we are going to start that community service as well, so that you can understand that why you are not able to get a job call, what is the problem, what and all things you know, what and all things you should know, how you can explain your project, how you can talk about your team members, how you can justify your day-to-day works, how you can justify your previous experience. Like you don't have experience into a data science or machine learning, but how you can justify it by showing a project, by explaining a project. So everything on any levels, doesn't matter whether you have a 20 experience or 15 or 13 or 12 or 8 or 10 or freshers, doesn't matter for us. So we always try to discuss in such a way, we always try to follow a pattern in such a way that we try to discuss for every level of people, step by step, everything. So yeah, keep learning, keep doing these things, and try to utilize your Saturday, Sunday, and the lockdown. I think it's been extended. So see you again in your next lecture, which is going to happen on Monday. Slide that I have discussed is already available inside your dashboard. So make sure that you go over there, download it, and try to practice it. In case of any concern, so don't try to put like don't try to ask like simple question for support team just by using like, okay, what is the meaning of a variable, m variable, all those things. Because even we get irritated, like if people don't do anything from their end and then they ask this kind of a question. If you're asking some question, maintain some quality. So at least like I'm expecting a good question from your side, not a stupid one. Make sure that one, yeah, because it's for you, not for me. So fine with that. Thank you so much, and see you again in our next lecture. Till then, good night, good morning to everyone who have joined from India and abroad. So thank you so much.